The following program is a production of All the Way Live Entertainment.
This show is sponsored by APCW Wrestling Academy. Learn wrestling from WWE Hall of Famer Robert Gibson. If you're interested in becoming a professional wrestler, contact them at 770-871-5417 or online at apcwdouglasville@gmail.com. Also, buy Collar and Elbow brand. Save 10% on your next purchase by using our discount code WPNRUSSELL. That's WPNRUSSELL at checkout and get a discount on great collar and elbow products.
You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
The World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion of the world.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
New face of the podcast, another young lady making waves and rising up the ranks of the independent circuit. She's a talent that I believe is new to the Southeast, but of course I'm sure she lives by the model that all wrestlers live by: have boots will travel. So I think it's only a matter of time before she comes to an arena near you and you can bring the signs and cheer on. But today we're going to sit and have a talk and find out, we'll peel back a few of the layers and see what we can discover about our guest for the evening. That would be one golden one, Cassandra Golden. Ms. Golden, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
So I'm doing better now. Since the thunder has passed me by, I guess I'm doing okay.
Always good.
Now, I know that you're in the midst of a rigorous training session right now, so we're going to move through and ask you a few of these questions. We'll try to get to know you a bit better. First off, such as, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas. Well, it's actually Sherwood. It's kind of a smaller city by Little Rock, but nobody ever knows where that is. So I normally just say Little Rock.
Oh, okay. So is that the equivalent of people that say, hey, I'm from Douglasville? Who? No, I'm from Atlanta. Something like that?
Yes. Probably so.
Okay, yes, because that's where I am. I'm in Douglas. Nobody outside of Georgia, nobody knows what Douglasville is, so I just say I'm from Atlanta.
Same thing, yeah. Same thing.
So I got you. Now, but and I didn't notice up until I think you told me today. I don't know why. I think I overlooked it. That you've moved since then. I mean, you were from there originally, but as far as professionally, you're in Atlanta now.
Yes, I have moved. I feel like better opportunities, more opportunities over this way. So I just have to make the move, take a risk.
Okay. That was the deciding factor. I mean, were you? Did you feel like you were getting the bookings that you wanted, or did you just look at the landscape and say, you know what, it probably would be better if I tried someplace different?
Yes, it would probably be better if I just tried somewhere different. It's a lot closer to the East Coast, definitely somewhere that I'd love to work in the future. Definitely the Carolinas, closer to Florida, just places like that, and just more opportunities. Because I'm used to traveling from Arkansas. There's not a ton of wrestling over in that area, so whenever I would have to wrestle, I would have to go out further. So it's just a way for me to get to those other places that I know I would like to work eventually.
All right. So, the normal question here is, why on earth wrestling? Wrestling is in and of itself a kind of a weird club, I guess, if you want to call it that. And it takes a specially driven individual to want to be in it in the first place. So what got you into this line, this lifestyle, if you will?
It was just something that I watched when I was younger. It was actually my sister and my dad's bonding activities that I kind of intruded on. I always tell that story about how I didn't really, when I was young, I didn't really watch it because that's something that they did. And so I finally just sat down and watched it, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I've just been hooked ever since. And I've really always wanted to do this, but it wasn't until after I graduated college that I actually realized that it actually could be a reality and not just a fantasy of mine.
So what pushed you over the edge? I mean, surely there must have been a moment where the light bulb, the switch got flipped, and he's like, you know what, I can do this.
It was probably in college when I got my degree in business with a specialty in accounting. I was probably shopping for a full-piece suit for a convention we were having for all the business majors. And I was like, man, I really don't want to do this for the rest of my life. It's like, I can always do accounting. I know, it's so crazy. I was like a senior. I was like, it's got to do it. But I was, and finally I was like, well, I can always do accounting. I can always do something in business, but I can only, this window for me to start training in my head. That's technically not true, because you can really start training at any time. It's the window, I guess, for, your body and your health. So I was like, I can always do that, but it's really the time for me to do this right now, and I have to really just live my life without regret. Because I knew I would have regretted it if I didn't do it. So once I graduated, I was like, I have to do this. This is something I have to do, because I know if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it when I'm older. And I feel like that's the worst thing you can do in life, is just look back on your life and think, what if I would have done this? Sometimes you just have to take a risk and just bet on yourself and just see where you go from there.
Well, that's true. I mean, but now we have to rewind this just a little bit here, because you are a business major.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to say that's the most odd thing that, you heard somebody who's a wrestler do, because, there's varying occupations that wrestlers have that, that I've come across. However, I mean, in that same breath, he's like, I don't know if I can do this the rest of my life. I'm like, no, wait a minute. You just committed, I'm assuming 4 years to, that
right.
goal. You got it. And I would imagine that you're at least by day dealing with some level of business. So, I mean, is that, there had to have been something in the business world that at least attracted you to it. It can't be all down there.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of just fell in my lap a little bit, because I really liked computer science. I really wanted to do that, but I would have to, by the time I realized what I really wanted to do, I would have had to stay a little bit longer, and I didn't want to do that at the time. So I kind of just stuck with the accounting. It wasn't bad for like the first 2 classes, but after that I was like, oh goodness. Sure.
Okay.
Like I said, I have a specialty in accounting, so with those upper level accounting classes, those can get a little rough.
I can imagine so, but that's good money there. If nothing else.
Definitely.
So that should be appeasing, because one of the hardships, especially in wrestling, when you begin, is that the money is sporadic. That's kind of a nice way to put it. You're doing it basically for desire and the love, right? So
definitely, don't I know it?
Well, you're living it now, and clearly you must enjoy what you're doing, because you I don't want to say tolerate. I was trying to find something else other than that, but you do it, again, for the love of it. So having that on the other side of the equation, surely it must be a good thing. Yes.
Yes.
And by that, I mean your business degree.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things I can do with it. I currently work at a credit union now, so that is something that I can use my degree with, definitely. So it does come in handy, and it looks good. So it's definitely something that I don't necessarily regret getting, for sure, because you always want to have that backup plan in this.
Well, see, and for you can go anywhere in the country. You're perfectly fine.
Right, exactly.
Have you had a chance to intermingle with any of the mainstay wrestlers here? I mean, I guess the lady wrestlers, I guess I should specify. Your Kiera Hogans and Ravenna Sins and Nina Monet and Double D Rose, so on and so forth, Brooklyn Creed. Have you had the opportunity to cross paths with them either in or out of the ring as of yet?
I've definitely met quite a few of the Georgia girls around here. Everyone I've met so far, male and female, has been just awesome. Everybody's very nice, very accepting, and always willing to help. So I really do appreciate the group of people that I've been able to be around while I'm here. That's something that I do enjoy because, it's like that brotherhood, that sisterhood in wrestling. It's definitely necessary sometimes.
Yes, indeed. What was your debut year?
17.
2017. So you putting in some time now. Now, would you say that you were consistent since 17? Because there is one thing I have discovered. Full disclosure, my son does a youth class at a pro wrestling school, so I go, even though I'm not in it, I go there with him regularly at this point. And one thing I've discovered with the trainers is you can have some people who have wrestled for 5 or 6 years, but collectively they may have, only had 15, 20 matches or something like that. So,
Right.
So now, when you started in 17, would you say that you were consistent at that point?
My first couple months, I certainly was not very consistent. I'd have to say I really started picking up in 2018. I was honestly a little bit afraid to move out of my home state. There's not much wrestling there for women, so if there wasn't a girl there for me to wrestle, they don't really do much intergender over there either. So there wasn't really a girl over there for me to wrestle, I wouldn't wrestle. So it was really around 2018 where I started to branch out to different areas. So I'll say ever since 2018 I've been consistent, but not necessarily in 17. Because sometimes you do have to branch out and just break out of your comfort zone. And I wasn't really ready to do that at first in 2017, but I would definitely say in 2018 I was definitely able to pick up the pace a little bit more.
Okay, so that's a good thing. Now, I think we could pull back a little bit of the conversation because I think the first time that I ever addressed you, you weren't even Cassandra Golden at the time, I don't believe.
No, it wasn't.
Would you like to share what your former name was when you began this journey?
I was Aryia Alexander whenever I first started.
Okay.
And that was until whenever WrestleMania was in Louisiana. So I want to say 33?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's whenever I changed my name, I think. I'm pretty sure that's when I changed my name over to Cassandra Golden, somewhere around there. So yeah, it was Aryia Alexander for the first bit of my career.
Okay, now there's 2 questions out of that. Where did Aryia Alexander come from? And then why did you change it?
Where it came from, I can't really tell you.
Okay.
I kind of just like the names.
That's all right.
I kind of just like those names, so I just put them together.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't have a cool story or anything. I wish I did, but I don't have a cool story or anything like that for that. I just like the name Aryia, and I felt like Alexander fit with it, and so I thought that was a pretty cute name.
Well, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. You can make something up.
Yeah. I probably should for the next one where I came up with that name.
That's right.
But I changed it because a lot of people said that they liked my real name better. And that Aryia was, I guess, very difficult to pronounce. It would always be pronounced wrong at shows, too. Yeah, I would get Aryia for the most part because I spelled it Aryia. There was an I in there, which was different. That might have thrown people off, but it was definitely always pronounced wrong at shows. That was kind of funny. But between that and I guess people just liking my real name better, I just decided I'd just change it to Cassandra Golden. Fits, the golden one. I thought that was pretty cool. So,
Okay.
give it a try because I wanted to do a different name. Mostly because, Beyonce has Beyonce and, Sasha Fierce. That's so corny. But I wanted, my own, double name, too, for wrestling. And then, my real, and then when I wasn't wrestling. But I just decided to just merge it all together.
And I will say, I guess, in my opinion, Cassandra Golden does roll off a little bit better. So
Does it? Okay.
Well, it's got a nice.
That's good.
It's got a nice ring. And maybe I didn't see Aryia Alexander long enough. Like, I mean, you could have gone around as the awesome one, Aryia Alexander, for all, and that might have had a nice ring. Look, somebody's gonna steal that now that I said it. But I think now that I've seen the progression of Cassandra Golden, the golden one, seen the shirts and this, that, and it's kind of sunk in. So it just may be a matter of getting used to. At least for me, on the opposite side of this. So, who knows? So, but if we find another Aryia Alexander who suddenly reveals herself as the awesome one, then we will know that it came from this podcast.
We know where they got it from.
That's right. Thief. What do you recall about your first match?
Oh, goodness. My first match.
Yes. The infamous first match. We all have the first match.
I know my first match, it was at MACW in Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Okay.
It was against someone that I trained with. Her name was Emily. Because she was wrestling. She started wrestling before I did.
Oh, was she any good?
Yeah, she's really good and really athletic.
Okay.
So that was cool to work against her because hers is a lot of strikes and mine is more power-based. So it was definitely different style. So that's always fun. So we always had fun wrestling her.
Okay. And I'm assuming this is who you had mostly because of the limitations of opponents in your area originally.
Definitely. That's who I wrestled for the most part for my first couple months, was Emily, who has had different matches, try to progress the storyline with just us two along, whether it's with actual matches or just us having promos. So we worked together a lot, especially during the early part of my career. And we also trained together, so that helped.
Okay. Well, it's funny that you even mentioned that you didn't have a lot of opponents, I guess, in your home state or home city. Because I've heard similar complaints here, at least at one point. Mm-hmm. It may have changed some, now. I think you got a nice crop of young ladies that's around. It just becomes really a matter of the promotions wanting to book everybody or book people to, kind of intermingle and swap and switch different matchups. Hopefully, you will be able to be within that mix.
Definitely. I think now there's a lot of girls over in this area, a lot of good girls too. So I think Georgia overall is really a great place to be, personally.
Well, considering your statuesque build, I think Double D Rose would probably be, that would be the matchup that I would be rooting for. Yeah, I think that might have some good play in somebody's promotion somewhere. So promoters that's listening, I think you need to hook that one up.
Exactly, I'd be down for that one.
Well, I'm sure you would. Now, I have to say, in doing the research, I've seen you do a similar move to Miss DeRosa's finish, the Damnesia, when she runs across the ring and nails somebody in the head with a backside. She might take offense.
We can have the battle of the hip attacks. I'll be down for it.
She might cannonball it. Because I haven't seen anybody kick out of it yet.
Hey, first time for everything. I'll be down for it.
Okay. I might have to see if I can pull some strings and get that one done. I don't know.
Definitely.
When I do these things and I do the research, there's two things, of course, I'm looking for. Primarily, I'm looking for matches and I'm looking for promos. I don't know if I've come across a lot of promos with you as of yet. If you wanted to illustrate who Cassandra Golden was, the wrestler, how would you describe it?
I would say Cassandra, she's a pretty much happy-go-lucky person. Whenever I come out there, I love my entrance music, so I kind of dance around with them a little bit when I get in there, bounce around a little bit. I like to have fun. I'm nice until you push me to that level. Then I have to get a little aggressive. You know, I feel like that's how it always is and how it has to be when you're a wrestler. You always have to have that second drive whenever people push you that way.
Yes.
I feel like she's just overall, you know, just me, just happy and just ready to go out there and have some fun, but also can whoop some butt if need be,
okay.
which is always.
I see. I mean, granted, just judging off of the profile pictures and the promo pics that I've seen, you strike me as a overall babyface, as you just said, it kind of happy-go-lucky young lady. Have you ever worked heel?
I did. Whenever I first started, I was heel for a couple matches. Now I am primarily face. I haven't been a heel in a good bit, but now I'm primarily mostly baby.
Okay, so to be specific, Aryia Alexander worked heel.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so Aryia did. Cassandra Golden is primarily the good girl.
Yes. Aryia was I would say about 3 or 4 of our matches I was heel, which is pretty much what we mostly had. Just those couple of matches. And then Cassandra's mainly babyface. I want to say maybe 3, 4 times in the past year or so.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it must be your smile. We'll go with that. I'm sure the promoters see you and say babyface and just kind of move along from there. Yeah, I recently just saw in the course of the research, you had a match with Bristol Hale.
I did.
And you know what? You are probably the first woman I've seen her across the ring from that physically looked like they put her in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
How tall are you?
I'm about 5 in my boots. I'm about 5'9", but without them, I'm about 5'8".
Okay, because I think I never gave thought to your build. So when I went onto the YouTube channel, and I forget which one it was which one posted it. I'm sure if anybody's listening, they want to find it, you could just search it out. But I wasn't giving much thought to your build until I saw it, and I looked at the matches. Like normally, Bristol's not towering over everybody, but she's generally larger than her opponent. Mm-hmm. And I think as I saw when I looked at her live, I saw her with somebody else that I believe you worked in the ring with, Taylor Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I was expecting that. So when I saw it, and then I'm seeing you two like trade up clotheslines and not budge, doing that bit, I was like, oh, okay, well this is different. This is like the battle of the power or whatnot. So
right.
So that's an entirely different dynamic. So I'm assuming this is the primary reason that you are a power girl.
Right. I typically am larger than my opponents.
Okay. Well, again, that is another little wrinkle in the plan. I think that could be interesting. Does it make it difficult for you? I mean, particularly, you're the baby, you're normally larger than. So, my first thought is they have to work extra hard to put you in jeopardy now,
Right.
Do you find that difficult for you? Because, sometimes when you're the bigger of the two, some people in the audience have some difficulty believing in, oh, that little girl can't do anything to her, or, stuff like that.
That's definitely true. Because sometimes it does affect it. But I feel like I have a lot of good opponents sometimes who are able to work around that, definitely. Okay. So it really just depends on what you have and, like, what you can really work with. But I definitely was worried about that as well whenever I first started, because I am so much larger and it doesn't always look believable.
Okay.
But it can definitely work out, but it definitely was a thought of mine as well, especially since I am mainly baby. and having to work against smaller opponents or wrestle against smaller opponents.
Yeah. Now, again, in the context of Bristol Hale, aka the White Widow, I think it worked fine there because again, she is a larger young lady, and I say that with the nicest connotation that I can. But either way you looked at it, it looked like you could put her in jeopardy and you could be put in jeopardy.
Right.
Now, Taylor Ray, I guess, would be a little bit of a different issue, and I think that was. I don't know if have y'all ever worked single? I've only seen the mixed tag thing that you were part of.
No, we've only had that mixed tag.
Okay, so now I know that the times that I've seen.
No, we wrestled had a single.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, it was a while ago at New South.
Mm-hmm. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say now I know when she's worked the babyface versus babyface before, it's been kind of a catch as catch can, a wrestling hole, exchange of locks and things of that nature, which basically kept it, interesting for the fans. I saw that y'all did something similar for the brief time that y'all were kind of exchanging with each other, but again, physically speaking, I guess you would be viewed as dominant to her.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think with our match, Lights, Camera, Action was out there as well.
Yes.
So I feel like he played a part in it as well.
He played a big part.
Yes. In our match. Oh, this is our singles match, not the mixed tag.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
Yeah, he played a part in the singles match as far as her offense as well.
Oh, okay. Now, was she babyface or was she working heel?
More on the heelish side.
Really? I can almost not
him at
picture
the ring
that.
side. If I remember correctly.
It
was a bit ago.
I see her with the unicorn stuff and the spark. I just cannot picture her as heel. I mean, I'm sure that she could do it, but I just cannot picture it. But now, given all of this information, using those two examples, is there a preference from you? I mean, as it relates to, I guess, opponent. Like, if you had your choice, would you prefer, like, hey, give me a giant, or I know not literally a giant, but you know what I'm saying. So somebody that could physically put you in jeopardy by visual, assessment of the audience, or you want somebody that's the worker. They can move fast. They might have to work a little harder to make the audience believe it, but they'll get there eventually. Is there a preference, or you just any way the wind blows?
Any way the wind blows, I'm good with whichever way. There are other challenges to both of them, so which I appreciate because it's different and it's fun. You never really know who you're going to get. Like I said, mostly they are smaller than me, so I kind of know going in. But if they are bigger, I definitely have to change up my moveset a bit because I can't just always pick up people all the time like I typically do. So it does change up the moveset and all as well, but I'm good with either one.
Okay, so versatility, always a good aspect of any particular wrestler, and promoters out there that's listening to it, there you go. She's versatile. She'll take what you give her. I
definitely try to be.
So we gotta pass that out. Speaking of the promoters, let's take this brief moment here to plug you. If they are looking to book you, how should they contact you for work?
The best way would be on Facebook, Cassandra Golden. You can reach me on Facebook. I have a like page. You can just message me through there, and I can definitely get back with you on that. Instagram, which is _Cassandra Golden _. I also have a Twitter, which is just my name as well. I like to keep it easy, simple and easy. All my social media is just my name. So you can just reach out to me in either one of those ways, and I can go ahead and get back with you.
All right, very good. See, there you go, promoters. She made it easy for you. Cassandra Golden, just search that out. Facebook, Instagram, you will find her relatively easy. Since we are on this little, I'll call it a plugging break, You can listen to this podcast wherever it is available that you listen to your favorite podcast, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, so on and so forth, Google Play. Not very difficult to find, easy to find. Of course, the most place that people like to listen to this is on the YouTube. And we leave links for the MP3 version of it down in the links below, in the description below, I should say. So for those that are trying to listen to it on the go, and you might not have that data stream happening, you just go and do that, and it'll take you to Podbean. You can download it and listen to it at your leisure. Also, 24/7 live stream on the WPNWrestling.com for you cord cutters out there. It will be on Roku, and eventually I am still working on the app. Give me some time. You gotta wait me out. But if you like ladies wrestling and things like that, the interviews and whatnot, you can see this on 24 hours a day at our website right now. All right, back to the interview. Have to have that moment to get that across. Cassandra, what is your best match today, in your opinion?
My best match? I would have to say my best match would have to probably be against Cameron, Brene, or I think she goes by both, or it's just Brene, at Main Event in Sherwood, Arkansas, which is great because I guess that was in my hometown. So my family and friends were able to see probably what I think is probably my best match. So that was awesome.
Okay, now were you working as Cassandra at the time?
Yes, that was actually in April of this year.
Oh, okay, all right. So how long have you been in Atlanta now?
Just about a month. So not too long.
Oh, so this is fresh. As I'm recording this, because this is an evergreen podcast, but as I'm recording this, it's only been a month now. All right, okay. I guess I also had it in my head that you've been here longer, but not long at all. Has the city been good to you so far?
So far, it's fine. It's like the traffic is what's really getting me. It's the worst part about it.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
The traffic here is not pleasant.
It's ridiculous.
I'm guessing that the traffic doesn't exist that heavily in Arkansas.
No, not at all. It's just crazy because like whenever where I stayed, everything was literally at the very most 15 minutes if I needed to get there. Most of it was really about 10. But here, it's just everything is just so far away, and it's like goodness. I have to go like less than 2 miles yesterday to go to the bank, and it was going to take me about 15 minutes to get there. I was like, forget it. I don't need to go.
Wow.
I know.
This is all, well, I'm going to apologize to you on behalf of the city. Yes, the traffic is not pleasant here.
No.
It is pretty heavy at times, especially depending on which route you're going. If you're within the perimeter of the city, within 285, and you're taking the major highways and byways, you are going to get it, especially during rush hour and lunch hour. So if you're leaving somewhere in the morning or the middle of the day or in the afternoon, and you're trying to get across town, you better pop in something that you like to listen to for at least a good 40 minutes to an hour. So
definitely. I ran into that today. I was like, why did I leave at this time? I knew better. I was like, you know better. Why did you do that? But
yes.
other than that, everything else it's been all right. It's not bad.
You'll get used to it, I guess. I'm sorry to say that you have to get used to it, but you'll get used to it, I suppose. Well, in any case, we'll move on from that, and because I don't want to make the city sound horrible with this terrible traffic and whatnot. This is going to be how can I say? It's not a roundabout question, but I am not going to mention any names. If you do not know what I'm talking about, I will tell you after the podcast is done. There's a match of yours that is online that you were in the ring with somebody that was relatively untrained. Are you familiar with what I am talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Without bearing anyone, can you tell me about that experience? How did you handle this situation?
Like during the match or after?
Both, really. I mean, I've heard, or I'm not going to say heard. I bore witness to during. The aftermath I was told about in another scenario. So I am wanting to hear your particular encounter, both in, during, and after.
Overall, it was kind of just a unfortunate situation, I would have to say. Definitely not one of my prouder moments or matches, for sure. I feel like me and the other individual involved, we tried our best to get everything situated back. I still consider myself relatively new, and there are things that I could have done, I guess, to change the situation in itself. So I'm just going to chalk the whole thing up as a learning experience, and that's really all I can do is just learn from it and just use what I've learned from this in the future.
Okay. I'm assuming that is the during, or was there an aftermath to it?
That's just what I thought about it
Okay.
after or during. You know, I wasn't the happiest, but you know, whenever I got back, I just have to realize that what's done is done, and that I'll just have to take, like I said, take this as a lesson and just move forward with it. But during, I certainly wasn't happy. I was a little flustered myself, so yeah, I'll have to take it and just move forward with it and just take that as a lesson on how to proceed with these situations in the future.
Were you aware before the bell rang? Were you aware of what you were stepping into, or did you find that out afterwards?
Not necessarily. I didn't know to the extent
Okay.
of what it was. Yeah, not to the extent of what it was. But then during, I was like, oh, okay. And then we tried to change things.
Okay.
While we're there, because we weren't fully aware of the situation that it was.
In cases such as that, now let's play the hypothetical game here. If you were aware walking into the building that, hey, this person over here is not trained, is that something that you make point of to the promoters? Like, hey, why are you doing this, or are you going to try to make the best out of it anyway? And I asked that solely based on this. I've known some to just kind of book but not question, and because of that, it places some of the workers in a bad situation, because now you're kind of charged with, people are paid to see me and they paid to get a good match, but at the same time, I'm getting in here with somebody that could mess me up, or they could be messed up because they don't know how to take certain things. So given that, I mean, if you were able to talk to the promoter at this point, then how would you have proceeded?
If I knew what I knew now, I definitely would have went to the promoter and just, like, let them. It was a triple threat, so we'd have easily switched it to a singles, if need be. I would have definitely just brought that to him if I had known just the extent of the training that this individual had.
Okay.
Or lack thereof.
Yes, of lack thereof, and at this point, I'm finding that more and more of those exist, and you know, it's quite possible that you may have been in the ring with more than one person who has had that lack thereof umbrella over their heads, which is unfortunate. But you know, I guess that is the ups and downs of the wrestling business, particularly in the independent world. But speaking of the independents and the pro wrestling world, I understand that you were in the midst of training before this. Would you like to give a plug to the location that you are plying your trade? So you don't step in the ring untrained. You're doing it right now.
Exactly. I go to One Fall Power Factory in Norcross. Yeah, it's definitely. I've been here for a month. It is an amazing facility for sure. I recommend it to anybody who can get up here.
Oh, well, no wonder you have to deal with so much traffic. You're riding up in Norcross.
Right.
All right, but yes, I've heard wonderful things about on fall. So yes, if you can get out there, then certainly do that. Of course, I also have to give a quick plug for APCW Wrestling Academy. I can never not give them a plug when I'm doing these programs. Goals. 2019 is almost done. Now, we all know that the major goals for any particular wrestler is always, hey, I want to be able to do this full time, get a big check, or, be able to do this as a living. But let's talk about short-term goals, the goals that you have placed in front of, if any, placed in front of yourself for the interim of the rest of the year, perhaps going into 2020. Anything that you've laid out in front of yourself, like, I would like to be here at, in 6 months, 9 months, a year, or so on and so forth.
Right. I wish I had my notebook because I do write down like my short and my long-term goals, but I don't have it with me right now. But I know one definitely. I would love to work for Queens of Combat eventually, and Women Superstars United. I would love to work for them. Just different promotions like that. I love these all-women companies. I just can really just show what women can do on these higher platforms. I love those. So those are definitely a couple of short-term goals that I plan on having. Debuting in different states. I mostly work around the Tennessee, Alabama area. I would love to go to the Carolinas. I live here, but I've only wrestled in Georgia once, which is when that match happened. Georgia once. Florida, just different places I would love to go visit. It's mostly just trying to get out there, get more exposure, and get my name out there. It's just my goal for 2019.
All right. Well, we got to get you more matches in Georgia eventually. Then that's there's no reason for you to be staying here and not getting any matches.
There's so many great promotions around. I'm excited to go ahead and when I get some availability to go ahead and look and see what's available around because there are some great promotions here. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Now, unless you may have to talk to Aja Pereira because she cut an entire promo about her. Some of the. She wasn't happy, but in fairness, and I'm still looking to have a sit down with her about that whole because she got a lot of stuff to get off her chest. But in fairness to that situation, the entire dynamic of what women's wrestling was at the time when she was not getting booked regularly has changed. I think she would admit that, although I know that she is not happy with someone or was not happy with some of the promoters because of why they didn't do it and the persons that might have been holding their thumb over her career at the time. But that's neither here nor there. So
right.
Again, as a worker, you may have to, talk to her and address that. That might be a good opponent for you. How about that?
Definitely. I love that one as well. She's very talented.
Yeah, Cassandra Golden, and I can't even say her athletic. It doesn't roll off my tongue. I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yes, I do. The athletic. There we go.
See, I can't do it. Yes. Yes. Aja Pereira, thank you very much. So that might be a match to have. I need to check about that one too.
Definitely.
It's time for random questions.
This is the point of the program when I get off into random questions. This is a stuff that aren't necessarily wrestling related. So, Ms. Golden, are you ready?
Yes.
Would you pursue another sport if wrestling were not available?
No.
Books or movies?
Movies.
What was the last movie that you saw?
I saw Lion King.
Ah.
I liked it. A lot of people were talking bad about it, but I liked the movie personally.
Oh, moviegoers are like wrestling fans. We are never satisfied. We complain about everything. The second, and this is a sidetrack here. I just have to get this out, folks, because she just brought up Lion King. Some people complained about that, complained about the casting. The guy that they just announced as the new Blade. Complained about him. I'm like, come on, give me a break. I love
I heard about all that too.
Well, like Wesley was a great Blade, I get it, but hey, come on, even he said, give the guy a chance.
Right.
Definitely. Anyway,
Sure
yes. All right, so did the Lion King put you in tears?
Almost, like even still, Mufasa died.
Come
I
on
still was
now.
like, oh my goodness. It's still
Almost.
still like teared up.
Almost. It didn't get you. They got your soul a little bit.
Yeah, it got me.
Okay.
That and when he looks into the water when at the end, I was like, oh my goodness. Those got me.
There you go. So moving moments in the Lion King.
Definitely.
Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime?
Hulu.
Really? Okay.
All my shows, I watch a lot of cartoons for whatever reason, and they're all on Hulu. They're not on Netflix anymore.
Those cartoons are great. Now, I don't know which particular cartoon you're talking about, but cartoons are awesome.
Like Bob's Burgers and King of the Hill, Family Guy, and stuff like that still on there, so I like to watch those.
You need a good I'm surprised that you was King of the Hill and Family Guy. Those are two distinctly different comedies.
Very different.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, I'm not even sure. I know one of my coworkers, he didn't even address King of the Hill almost as an animated show. He's like, that's like a regular sitcom.
Pretty much, yeah. I can see that. Right. I didn't really watch it until this year, but I was obsessed with it for a good minute. Now I still alternated between King of the Hill and Family Guy and Bob's Burgers. I love Bob's Burgers too, so I kind of alternate those. But for a while, all I watched was King of the Hill when I first actually watched it.
I can't remember the voice actor's name who does Bob or Archer, but yes, he's just hearing him talk is funny enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Name a talent that is largely unknown by your fans and followers.
That is largely unknown?
Largely unknown.
Well, it won't be unknown. I guess over in this area, they may not know her. Cameron, like where I had probably my best match with, so probably her. I don't think she works over out this way as much as I do, so probably Cameron.
Oh, no. I mean like a talent that you have. Like you can
juggle, I'm sorry.
Like you can juggle or something like that.
Oh, I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Oof, a talent that nobody knows.
Or is there a talent that you feel like you have that is largely unknown by the general public or by your fans?
I can't sing or dance. I can. I'm a pretty good cook.
Ah, okay.
I would say.
So culinary art.
Yeah. When I'm not being lazy, I'm a pretty good cook.
You're here by yourself now, so I'm assuming you're going to have to cook. Eating out every day doesn't work. I've tried it.
No, not at all.
It can get expensive real quick.
Definitely.
Scooby-Doo or Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Courage, even though it scares me.
What?
I was so afraid of Courage. I still am. Like the Return the Slab thing still creeps me out. I hate when people post that. It scares me every time I have to scroll by it because it's scary.
Are you serious?
I know. I don't do well with like scary things all the time, and like Courage scared me. Like when I was a kid, I would still watch it, but like through my fingers, through my comforter.
Wow.
I know.
Courage the Cowardly Dog. I never thought of that as a scary cartoon.
Oh my goodness, so scary or creepy too.
Well, okay. Now I will give you this: it is a creepier show than Scooby-Doo ever could be because the threats were real. I guess in the context of the show, whereas you knew every week it was whoever was bothering Scooby was just some nut in a mask or some real estate scheme that they're trying to do, or something along those lines.
Right.
But when you think about it, if they're deranged enough to go through all of this time and trouble and effort and expense to scare people away, I was like, they probably could kill somebody too.
Probably.
That's giving a little, way too much thought to the Scooby-Doo universe, but you know that's what I do sometimes. Here come the random questions based around your name. Have you seen the movie The Golden Child?
The Golden Child?
The Golden Child.
No, I haven't.
You must see that movie. It's an old movie, but you know, it rides off of the name Cassandra Golden, so you know I had to pick that one. What was the lesson learned by King Midas?
Is that I know?
See what I did
about
there?
everything you touch turns to gold. Something like that?
That's correct. Yeah, you see how I tied that in there? So what was the lesson that he learned?
I don't remember the story. I just know everything turns to gold.
Well, let's think about that now. Everything he touched turned to gold, no matter whether he wanted it to or not. So a little recap of the story. Once he started touching things that he actually wanted, you know, couldn't appreciate it anymore. Wanted to eat some food, touch that, turns to gold. Daughter comes into the room, she wants to hug her dad, touch her, she turns to gold. So, you know, what his blessing was, or not blessing, but what he thought was a gift became a curse. Lesson learned, too much a good thing is no longer a good thing. Yeah, see, look, the moral of the story. You learn something new every day.
Learn something new every day.
There you have it.
Fantasy booking.
Fantasy booking. This is the third segment of the show. This is the part where I say I believe every wrestler has a storyline or angle that is cooking in the back of their mind that could be utilized at the drop of a dime. And I am going to ask you, Cassandra Golden, what is your fantasy booking?
I have a couple, just again versus a couple different wrestlers. I would have to say Awesome Kong, Jazz, and Victoria. I actually met Victoria at WrestleMania 32, and so I always had a thing if we had a match. It's her last year. So if we ever had a match, I would like do a promo on it, and I still have the picture as well. I would have to do a promo about meeting her and how she inspired me when I was younger, and about how much this match means to me. So that's something that I would love to do with her, because I still have that picture, and it was pre-training as well. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that would be really cool. Awesome Kong, because I just love Awesome Kong. I feel like she was doing amazing things in TNA during a time period where women didn't really have the ability to do things. Overall, in Jazz, she was one of the people who really got me in wrestling as well. I just loved her aggressiveness in the ring and her powerfulness. She's small. I met her before. She is small, but man, she is jacked. And she is just powerful and strong and aggressive. So I would feel like one of those, I feel like I could fit any type of storyline amongst those three women.
Okay. Well, I'm hearing the Victoria thing. It sounds like you had that one really legitimately worked out. Like if I had the chance. You know, and that's a shame, man. I'm a little disappointed that I think what she's done in December, isn't she? Like by the end of this year?
Yeah, it's her last year.
You know, so if there was a promoter out there who could fork out the bill for her.
Please.
I mean, because that's the only thing that would really be the hang-up is trying to get Victoria.
Right.
I'm sure that if you had the opportunity to do it, you would jump at it regardless of what the fee was at this point.
Definitely. Just jump at it.
Oh man, I'm a little disappointed that can't take place. Well, I'm not gonna say can't. It's a long shot at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely a long shot, but we got a couple more months. We can do it.
Yes. Well, you know, you can get that Cassandra Golden Patreon. Well, not the Patreon, Kickstarter going.
Right? Help Cassandra wrestle Victoria.
No, that might not be a bad idea. You know, I don't know what Victoria costs these days, but hey, you know, you could just get that page going and say, hey, you'll get the video for free or whatever the case would be. Help Cassandra go to wrestle her idol Victoria, before she is retired, this is the last
Right.
one. We got a couple of months. Let's raise $2,000 or, I don't know, whatever it is that she costs. I think that's a pretty safe number.
Probably.
So there you have it. I think that is quite the fantasy booking. I wish it does occur. I hope it does occur at some point.
Thank you. Hopefully.
Well, Ms. Golden, this is the final portion, and for those that are listening to this, if you want to hear this one, you're going to have to go to the Facebook page, because this is the Tales from the Creep question that I ask all guests that come onto the show. And they usually have some fascinating story or whatnot of just weirdos that they come across, or keyboard warriors, or however you choose to put it, that feel the need to say and do things that they wouldn't never do in real life, but they do behind the comfort of a computer screen and a keyboard. So if you want to hear her version of that, if there is a story to go behind that, then you want to go there. Otherwise, I will say that this has been a phenomenal interview, and I enjoyed having you on. Any closing remarks? We'll just stick around because we're going to ask that question. But any closing remarks on this end of it?
Well, I just want to say thank you for everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Definitely just look out for me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever, and just, hit me up and just look where I am and, come out and visit me and say hello. I really appreciate it. Just expect a good match and have some fun around. And I really appreciate you for tuning in.
And I appreciate you for tuning in as well. And remember, 24-hour stream, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, WPNWrestling.com. It is on right now. As I speak, there's wrestling happening. Go there, watch it. So in any case, this is Mr. Green saying that. This is Mr. Green saying so long, everybody, and I will catch you on the next go-round.
Rights and wrongs of pro wrestling. If you have questions or comments, please contact us via our Facebook or our YouTube channel at the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. If you're new to the WPN, feel free to subscribe to our channel and like our page. We appreciate your support. Thank you again for listening.